Watch any top pros long enough, and it's easy to believe they just don't feel it. They miss a double, they lose a leg, they had no business losing, and a few seconds later they are just back at the hockey like nothing happened, calm, almost bored. But I don't buy that. I think they feel exactly like we do. They have just learned to be ready again faster than the rest of us. And that's the thing I've been chewing on lately. Not to play your best darts, we both know those days are rare. It's how to be ready to play when you are not at your best, and how to get ready again fast when a game starts slipping away. So today it's about resilience, being ready and staying ready. This is Darts is Fun, let's throw. I used to think resilience just meant toughness, grinding through, keep going no matter what. But the more I sat with it, the more I realized that's not quite it. That's persistence. Persistence is about direction. You've got to go somewhere far ahead and you keep walking toward it even on the days it's hard. That's the thing that drags you to the practice board when you'd rather sit on the couch. Resilience is different. Resilience is about recovery. It's less like a long walk and more like boxing. You're going to get hit. That part isn't really in question. The real question is what happens in the half second after the punch. Are you already back in your stance, ready for the next one? Or are you still standing there replaying the one that just landed? In darts, the punch is a missed double, or a leg you should have won, or a break of throw at the worst possible moment. You can't stop those from coming. What you can train is how quickly you are ready against afterwards. And that recovery shows up in two completely different time frames. For a long time, I only paid real attention to one of them. There is the long-term kind, the resilience you need across months and seasons, bouncing back after a bad tournament, staying with the game through a slump, adjusting when life outside darts gets heavy and practice has to change shape. I've gone fairly deep on a version of this before when I talked about my progress stalling after we moved to Sweden. It's real, it matters, and mostly it comes down to patience and honest reality checks, knowing when to push and when to just keep the rhythm ticking over. But that's not the kind I want to spend today on, because there is a second kind that's much faster, and for a long time I basically ignored it. It's the resilience you need inside a single game, the recovery that has to happen in seconds, not seasons, between one visit and the next, while the match is still live and the punch is still stinging. That's the one that quietly cost me until I finally learned to take it seriously. Earlier this year I went to Q school and the build up to it was genuinely good. Probably the best preparation period I'd ever had. For weeks my level kept climbing at home and in smaller competitions. I was holding high 80s pretty consistently, and the 90s were showing up more and more often. I felt like I was finally turning into the player I'd been working to become. I even practiced hard right up to the day I traveled. No taper, no easing off, I wanted to ride the form as long as possible. Looking back, that was the first mistake, but it wasn't the big one. Because I arrived full of confidence, genuinely believing I could win games there. And then, on the actual days, something strange happened. Before every single game, I found myself chasing my readiness. Even in the warm-up, I wanted to be sharp from the very first dart. I wanted that perfect feeling on demand, right now, immediately. And I did win some games, but honestly, I came away ashamed. Not because of the results, because I knew I'd never gotten anywhere near myself. The whole time I was reaching for my 100%, trying to make every circumstance ideal, waiting for the rare feeling where everything just clicks. And that's the trap I didn't see until afterwards. That ideal feeling is real, but it's rare, and I've learned it's almost impossible to summon on command. The harder I chased it, the further away it got. I'd spent all that good preparation quietly raising my own bar so high that anything less than perfect felt like failure before I would even throw. So the fix when I found it had to be the complete opposite of what I'd been doing. When I got home from Q school, I made a change that honestly felt absurd at the time. I cut my warm-up before a game down to 15 darts. 5 visits, that's it. After years of trying to build the perfect state before every match, I went straight to the other extreme, barely warming up at all. And at first it felt wrong, really wrong. Stepping up to a game without that long, careful ramp up made me feel exposed, like I hadn't earned the right to play well yet. A few times I was sure I'd throw terribly because I wasn't ready. After a few weeks, the question that used to run on a loop before every game, am I ready? Do I feel it yet? Just got quieter. And then it mostly stopped showing up at all. I wasn't waiting to feel perfect anymore. I was just playing. And that's when the real lesson clicked, the one I keep coming back to now. Being reliably 80% ready every single time you step up beats swinging between a brilliant 95 one day and a hopeless 60 the next. The 95 is seductive, is the day everything clicks and is the day we all chase. But you can't order it. The 80 is different. The 80 is the level you can actually bring with you again and again, no matter the room, the opponent, or the mood you walked in with. And here's the part that surprised me most. I didn't get to that steady 80 by aiming for it. I got there by stopping the chase completely. The moment I quit demanding a perfect state, a reliable one quietly showed up in its place. About 3 months later came SM Veckan, and this time the story went differently. Going in, a lot of people had me as the favorite, which is a strange kind of pressure, because suddenly you are not playing to win something so much as playing not to lose it. And for a while it went perfectly. I won all my games without much trouble and felt calm doing it. Then came the semi-final. I got way ahead early, comfortable, in control. And then I dropped. My level dipped, my opponent found his, and he started clawing it back. If you have seen my earlier video about losing games from in front, you'll know this is exactly the situation that used to undo me. 3-2 up, and now he's standing there with darts to level it 3-all, which would hand him the throw and the momentum going into a deciding leg. And here's the moment I'm actually proud of. And because the match was broadcasted, it's a moment you can actually watch for yourself. While he was still on the board, throwing for that equalizer, I didn't stand there watching it slip. I turned away. I went through my mantras, and I deliberately let go of the doubles I just missed. The current leg wasn't even finished yet, but in my head, I was already in the decider, already rehearsing my first turn. He checked out. 3-all. The crowd was right behind him. The room had completely swung his way. But I wasn't really in that leg anymore. I'd already moved on to the next one. And in the deciding leg, even though he threw first, I just played my game. No forcing, no chasing a feeling, nothing to summon. I was simply ready, and that was enough to take it cleanly. Then I went on and won the final two, but the semi was the real turning point. That was the moment all the theory stopped being theory. The punch landed exactly where it always had, and for the first time I was already back in my stance before it finished stinging. So if this is something you want to actually build, how do you train it? For me it came down to a few small unglamorous habits. None of them dramatic, but together they are the difference between staying ready and spiraling. The first is breathing. I teased this in an earlier video and never properly followed up. So here it is. A couple of months back I started using a simple breathing routine before matches, just to settle myself. But the real breakthrough was learning to use it during a game. One slow breeze between visits, especially right after the bad one. It doesn't magically fix your darts. What it does is drop the physical tension that a missed double leaves in your arm and your chest, so you'd step up to the next visit from something closer to neutral. The second is what I say to myself. In an earlier episode I talked about how loud and how harsh the inner voice can get on the oki. I'm not trying to force fake positivity now. That never worked for me. I just give that voice a simple, repeatable job. A short mantra, something neutral that points me at the next throw instead of letting me relitigate the last one. And the third, the one that matters most, is keeping my focus on myself and on the next visit. Not the opponent, not the crowd, not the leg that's already gone. None of that is in my hands. The next 3 darts are. That sounds almost too simple. But it's exactly what I was doing when I turned away from the board in that semi-final. I wasn't being clever. I was just refusing to spend attention on anything I couldn't change. And the longer I've sat with this, the more I notice it isn't really about darts at all. I spend my working life in a fairly demanding job, leading people, and the same pattern shows up there constantly. A meeting goes badly, a decision backfires, someone pushes back hard, and I get the exact same urge I used to get at the hockey after a missed double. The urge to stop, replay it, and wait until I feel sharp again before I move on. But work doesn't pause for that, and neither does a darts match. The next conversation is already starting. The next task is already on the table. And the same thing that helps on the board helps there too. Let the last one go and put my attention on the thing right in front of me. The 80% idea travels surprisingly well too. I can't bring a perfect switched on version of myself to every single thing I do in a day. That version is rare, just like it is in darts. But a steady, reliable, reasonable present version, that one I can bring again and again. And most of the time, that's the one that actually gets things done. So darts didn't just teach me to recover faster between visits. It taught me to recover faster between everything. So if I pull all of this together, here's where I've landed. For years I thought getting better at darts means chasing my best. That rare, perfect feeling where everything clicks. And I'd wait for it, demand it, feel like a fraud without it. But that feeling was never the thing I could rely on. What I could rely on was being ready, reliably, repeatably ready, and getting ready again quickly when a game tried to knock me out of it. That's what being ready and staying ready actually means to me now. Not arriving perfect, just arriving prepared to play, and refusing to stay down after punch. The missed double will still come, the lead will still slip, the room will still swing against you. None of that is really in your control. The only thing that is how fast you are back in your stance. I would love to know how this lands for you. Have you ever had a match turn around simply because you let go of the last leg and gave the next one your full attention? Or lost one because you were still chasing a feeling that wasn't coming? Tell me in the comments. I always learn something from how you see it. That's it from me today. Thanks for spending the time. And remember, darts is fun, watch and play every day. Cheers!